I had a video recorded on this exact topic a couple of weeks ago. And then, by the time I got around to releasing it, more started to emerge on it, right? And it's kind of proof of what everybody in this space has been saying for nearly 2-3 years at this stage, right? Anybody with a brain anyway, right? So it's very interesting. So I was listening to the PDP podcast, which I do occasionally. I do listen to it, right? But I was listening to it anyway. Tommy Robinson was on it. And on it he said something very interesting, right? Which was that Panorama, I believe, is the company that he was talking about. He said that they done this thing where they contacted his exes and people that he knew, and specifically exes, offering 10 to 20,000 UK pound for a documentary that the BBC wanted to run on Tommy Robinson to accuse him of grape. Now that will be the last time I even go near that word in this video, okay? So Panorama paid 10 was willing to pay one of Tommy's exes 10k to make assault charges on him and to make up a story about it so that they could run a documentary and expose him as this kind of like predator, this kind of creep weirdo, as one might say, right? Now, the reason he found that out in the first place was, even though she hated him, she went to him and said, look, you need to know this. They offered me this much money. And Tommy went with a camera and called out and exposed him in real life. So, again, they tried to destroy Tommy Robinson with these accusations, right? Then, only last week, did something else come out. You know what I mean? It's actually quite annoying, because I'd made this point in the video, and then after I make that point, this evidence comes out, which is that the original woman was paid by USAID. So USAID, everybody knows what that is by now. She was paid to make an accusation against Andrew and Tristan Tate, right? And then she was put onto a flight to somewhere in France, I believe, where it was all paid for her, right? Now, isn't that quite interesting to think about? Because we've been speaking about this for 2-3 years now, where I've been saying that these charges, shit like that, it's all made up, it's all orchestrated, it's a political attack because they don't like what you were saying, which is true. You have 3 lives in this world. First they cancel you, then they attack you with lawfare, and if you somehow manage to survive both of those, they try and kill you. Unalive you, sorry. So, we're going to go through some more examples, which, again, so let's start with cancel culture. Myron Gaines, cancelled. Nick Fuentes, cancelled. Sula, what is his name? I don't know how to pronounce it. He's a journalist. If you go onto Twitter, his surname's Ahmed. You'll see I follow him on Twitter. But he's recently been demonetized on Twitter. Myron, obviously, Andrew and Tristan. A lot of people have been censored and taken off of these platforms, right? And then Nick Fuentes has had lawfare in the past. Maybe warranted, maybe not, but still. Russell Brand, lawfare, accused of assault. Tate, Tristan and Andrew, the exact same thing. They tried to do it to Tommy Robinson, but the most notable case, of course, being the President of the United States, Donald Trump, right? Where he got felony charge for something that's not a felony. He would have been, if he had have served jail time for what he was convicted of, he would have been the first person in the history of the world to have served jail time for that offence. The only two other people who served jail time for that offence were mafia bosses. Magic. So then obviously when the lawfare, when nobody was believing that bullshit, when the lawfare was started and nobody started to believe it, what happened? 3 attempts on the president's life. So everything Andrew has said has been completely and utterly true on every respect. Your 3 lives. Like, there's nothing that counteracts or even proves that to be false. And then with the Tommy Robinson one. So basically, what is being said there is that if you speak out and you say the wrong thing, you say something that goes against the narrative, or you say something that they don't like, they're going to try and take you off of platforms. But now, because of Twitter and because of X, Rumble, Telegram, etc., and again, they done it to Pavel Durov as well. They arrested him, the CEO and founder of Telegram. But what's very interesting, and it's harder and harder to censor, it's becoming harder and harder to cancel somebody because we found ways around it. So then with the lawfare, Tommy Robinson, that case, and the other cases, Russell Brand, Donald Trump, Andrew and Tristan Tate, Nick Fuentes, among others, of course. There's been many others, of course. They will try and lock you up. So if you say anything that's against the narrative, good luck. That's basically all I'll say. All Andrew had to do, really, was criticise Israel going into Gaza. That's all he done, was come out in defence of Gaza. And he was locked up, technically, under assault charges, assaulting a minor, etc., etc. You know, the usual. So, if you're a man and you plan on helping other young men break free, improve themselves, be red pill aware, become a race realist, whatever your mission is, then chances are, in some way, shape or form, you are going to be attacked with lawfare. Now, I don't know what they can do, because for someone like me, I am, unlike most men, I don't sleep around. I don't actively go out and sleep with women. I can count on one hand how many sexual partners I've had and how many of them have been outside of long-term relationships. Again, and I'm not going to talk about my sexual history on YouTube anyway, but I let you in on that little snippet that I don't believe in hookup culture. I don't believe in being a degenerate. I don't believe in sleeping around. Now, that's not to say that I don't understand women. That doesn't mean I don't understand female nature, because 100% I do. Because, again, obviously, I'm looking to settle down, find a wife, yada yada. If I ever do decide to settle down and find a wife, who knows? The future is long, isn't it? I still have another 70 years on this planet. But do they just go, they can cancel me, but what can they attack me with lawfare wise, which means I'm just going to run me mouth as much as I fucking can, and as much as I really want to. I'll just continue to run my mouth and run my mouth and run my mouth. Because, again, I'm just speaking true. Like, what I say is the truth. My mission is to red pill young men. My mission is to not only red pill them, but make them aware of stuff like this. Women, in particular as well, women and the system, going against them, these accusations, trying to teach men to protect themselves when they get to a certain stage in life. So, again, I'm willing to die for that mission. I'm willing to have my house raided. Like Tommy Robinson locked up, if you remember. He's been cancelled. He was locked up for something else. They got him on something else, obviously, but still, like, I'm happy. Like, I'd be happy enough living on my own, because, again, if I get too big, my house will be raided, yada yada, and I don't care. Like, I really don't care. But again, it's not fair if you have a family, a wife, kids, family. So we'll see what happens like in the future. But again, I can't sit idly by without even trying to try and tell millions of people what's going on, what to look out for, how to protect yourself out in society as a young man, especially a young white man, young black man, like any man, like, and that's why I said white, black. I mean, in general terms, doesn't matter what type of a man you are, in some way, shape, or form, someone is going to try and destroy you. It happens way too often. You piss off the wrong woman, you say the wrong thing on the internet. You know, it's a scary world out there. So, and if they're doing it to these people and it's so blatantly obvious that it's being done to these people, what chance do people with no influence, no power have? Like, say the wrong thing and you're fucked. Your life is over. So, again, I'm happy enough to be a martyr for this movement, but again, we'll see what happens in the future. But like, as I said, like, I myself, I can't just sit idly by and watch the world we live in go to shit like this. So it's why I run my mouth. It's why I talk the way I do. Well, I actually restrain myself a bit on the internet, would you believe? You should hear some of the things I say to some of my friends, but it's a cruel world out there, so you just need to protect yourself. I'm educating you on these things. Like, I haven't heard many people talking about the Tommy Robinson thing. I haven't heard anyone talk about it at all. Yet it was the first thing I picked up on. The minute they said it on the podcast, I was like, I need to make a YouTube video on this. And I couldn't find anybody talking about it anywhere. I did post it on Twitter now, to be fair, but other than that, I haven't seen anything about it anywhere. So it is what it is, I guess, but just protect yourself out there. Stay safe at all times. And again, I'm just going to educate you and help you get through this shit. So have a lovely evening. Have a lovely day. And I'll see you probably Saturday. Mwah.